Should you get the Thai Privilege visa? This is the question we're going to answer in today's video. We're going to break down what you get for your money, the price points. We're going to talk about customer reviews. I'm going to be showing you some customer reviews. And if you don't want to get the Thai Privilege visa, for whatever reason you don't want to get it, I'm going to show you some alternatives that you may like. Just a brief intro here. The Thai Privilege visa, that's the current name. It used to be Thai Elite. They changed the name. They rebranded the whole program, and things have changed since the pandemic, you know? Quite a few things have changed actually. And Thailand is not the only country that made some drastic changes to its visa policy. Malaysia did the same thing. Vietnam did the same thing. Cambodia had some changes. The Philippines is really the only place with the existing, with the previous visa requirements, and they're still in place in the Philippines today, which is pretty cool. All right, let's have a look at the options that you have. So for the Thai Privilege visa, okay, you have the gold card, which requires a payment. So it's like a one-time fee of 900,000 Thai baht, which comes down to roughly $25,000. The gold card is valid for 5 years. Let's say you're going to end up staying in Thailand for 5 years and you pay $25,000, then you would have paid roughly $5,000 a year, or roughly $400 a month. Now, the question is it worth paying that much? Because with all the cards, with all the options that we're talking about right now, this is really only a social visit pass. And I also want to point out that with this visa, you actually have to report to immigration every 90 days, okay? Even if it's valid for 5 years, you have to report yourself to immigration every 90 days. You have to do that, okay? This is a requirement, okay? It's a contingency, it's a requirement. It's part of this package. Next, we get the Platinum card, which is valid for 10 years, and it costs you 1.5 million Thai baht, which comes down to about $41,000. So the Platinum Thai Privilege card is valid for 10 years, and like I said, it's gonna cost you $41,000. So if we just do the mathematics here, you're looking at roughly $4,000 a year. Well, in fact, $4,100 to be exact. Okay, so this is a little bit cheaper. It's like 20% cheaper. Yeah, you're gonna pay more, but it's valid for 10 years and you're gonna save 20%, which is pretty standard. Then we got the Diamond Thai Privilege card, which is valid for 15 years and it costs 2.5 million Thai baht, which comes down to about $69,000. Now, if we do the mathematics here again, okay, so we're looking at 2.5 million Thai baht, comes down to, like I said, $69,000. And if we divide that by 15, then we're looking at roughly $4,600 a year. Of course, all the amounts that I'm mentioning now, especially the converted amounts, or only the converted amounts, they will change in the future, okay? Because now we're talking about US dollars and the exchange rate is always up and down a little bit. I know that the Thai baht has been quite stable over the past 10 to 15 years. However, the exchange rate might be different whenever you watch this video, just so you're aware of that. In actuality, the Diamond card is actually more expensive than the Platinum card, which is weird because it should actually get cheaper, not more expensive. But anyway, this is what changed since, this whole transformation from Thai Elite to Thai Privilege. There's also the Reserve card, the black card, which is valid for 20 years and it costs 5 million Thai baht, which is double the price you pay for the Thai Privilege Diamond card, which is weird. It's just 5 years more, but it's double, okay? It's 20 years instead of 15, but instead of 2.5 million that you pay for the Thai Diamond Privilege card, you now pay 5 million, okay? So the mathematics here, they don't make sense. The only conclusion that I came to is that Thailand just doesn't want to offer long-term visas anymore. Not to the same extent as they did pre-pandemic. Now they're more like shorter visas, like 5 to 10 years, and if you go any more than 10 years, then you're actually paying more per year. And I also think the expectation is that Thailand and Thai Privilege will keep raising the price. And I think this is factored in now that they're marketing, just at a higher price point. I think they factored in inflation. So if you were to say 15 years instead of 10 years, you automatically pay more, which is absurd, but it's just how the price is calculated. And the 20-year card is by invite only, and it's like the most expensive, okay? Now looking at what you pay per year, it's the most expensive card out of all the cards. Even though you pay more and you get more years, the price per year actually increases. It's nuts. All right, let's talk about what you're actually getting here, right? So basically, no matter which card you choose, okay, you're only really getting a social visit pass to Thailand. So no work permit is included, okay? It is not residency. It's not a residency permit. It isn't, okay? So it's not like Panama, it's not like Mexico, it's not like Portugal, it's not like Spain, nothing like that. It's not like Singapore. With the Thai Privilege card, you don't get a residence permit. Just to make this clear, because there's some people on this platform who advertise the Thai Privilege card as a residency permit, which it is not. Because with a residency permit, you don't have to report yourself every 15 days. With the Thai Privilege card, no matter which card you choose, you have to report yourself every 90 days to the official, to the Thai authorities, to the government. Every 90 days you have to report yourself that you're in the country, and you may be able to do this electronically, which is fair enough, but you still have to do it. And this is why it's not a residency permit. It's not. What it is also not, it's also not a path to citizenship. So I want to make this clear. And some people say, oh, it's easy to get citizenship in Thailand. No, it really isn't. Like if you look up the registry, you know, the index of people, of foreigners who obtained residency in Thailand, you know who those foreigners are? They are natural born citizens. Okay, for instance, it's a foreigner with a Thai wife. They had a kid, and that kid was born in Thailand. And so the kid has like a Western name, and those people get the citizenship. But you as an immigrant, I mean, in Thailand, there's no such thing as an immigrant. There's no such thing as immigrating to Thailand. So I just want to make this clear. Thai Privilege also does not come with company ownership, with foreign company ownership. Now, you can own a company in Thailand, don't get me wrong. If you're an American citizen, you can own 100% of a Thai company. It's an exception to the rule. It's the only exception to the rule. But if you are a foreigner from any other country, you can only own up to 49% of a locally incorporated company, meaning a Thai company. So you cannot own 100%, you cannot own 60%, you cannot own 57%. It must be less than 50%, okay? And you need a Thai partner who you give more than what you own yourself, okay? This is how it works in Thailand. There's really no way around it unless you're an American citizen. Unless you're a Thai citizen, then yes. These are the exceptions, okay? All right, let's have a look at some of the negative reviews posted by Thai Privilege card customers. It's always important to listen to the feedback that customers are giving to a company, because at the end of the day, you want to know what's working, what's not working, and oftentimes the things that work, you know, they're often very clear, but sometimes, you know, it's really important to listen to criticism because it tells you what you can expect, and it shows you what kind of problems you may experience as well. A customer says, never given the service that is supposed to be part of the package. They also go on, they didn't even use the car during the past health crisis and still won't even let me book the car service again. Not worth the money. Another customer says, promised one thing, given another, and you're just a dumb foreigner if you call him out on it. Would love to hear what exactly this person means by that. This person says, went down really hard the last few years. Try to avoid their services if you can. Another person says, I can just confirm how disappointing this setup is. You get a long-term tourist visa for your money, and that's about it. Nothing more. Anyway, there are many more negative reviews posted about this specific program, this specific visa, the Thai Privilege card, and we can keep going on and on and on here, but I just want you to listen to some of the critical feedback posted by customers of the Thai Privilege visa. All right, let's talk about some alternatives, okay? Let's say you don't want to relocate to Thailand, even though I don't even want to call it a relocation because it's not a residence permit, it's not anything long-term, because there's so many contingencies, and even during the past health crisis, when I considered signing up for the Thai Elite visa, I received a note on my invitation letter that stated there's no guarantee that I will be granted submission during this health crisis, which led to me moving to another country, you know, doing other things, because I'm not going to hand the money if there's no guarantee that I can enter, because to me, if I'm going to hand, you know, whatever was back then, maybe like $25,000 to a person, to a government, you know, I want to make sure I can enter the country. So I was actually ready to pay the money, but since that disclaimer was in the approval letter, I decided not to proceed. All right, let's talk about the alternatives, which is important. So let's say you don't want to relocate to Thailand for whatever reason, you don't want to do it. There are tons of reasons why this might be the case. Maybe you think it's too expensive. Maybe you're looking for something more long-term. Maybe you're looking for something more solid, right? There are tons of reasons why people decide against moving to Thailand. And so one of the programs you can consider is the Philippines Retirement Visa Program, the Special Resident Retiree Visa, which is available to people from pretty much all countries. Of course, you need to meet the age requirements, and the Philippines makes it easy peasy. So how the Philippines works is that if you are above a certain age and you can deposit at least $20,000, then you're going to be given the long-term retirement visa. That's if you have no income, right? If you have no income whatsoever and you can deposit at least $20,000, then you're going to be given this visa. If you have some income and you qualify, with that income, you can deposit just $10,000 into a bank account in the Philippines. You have to be 50 years or older, and like I said, you either have 10K and a pension or some kind of passive income, or you have 20K saved can deposit into a local bank account and no income. Okay, both options are valid, assuming you're at least 50 years of age. The Philippines is a beautiful country. It is very welcoming to foreigners. While it is not the most developed country, it is very open to receiving Americans, which is important. It is pro-America, and I think that's important for Americans, Canadians, Europeans alike. It's just really important that you're located in a country that is in alignment with the policies of your home country. I think that's important, and it becomes more important as the geopolitical gap widens between the superpowers. So just to consider that. Next, we got the Sarawak Malaysia My Second Home program. Sarawak is a state located in East Malaysia. It's a place where I spend time and where I used to live. It's a beautiful place, and I keep recommending it because the requirements are decent. It's still not as good as the next program that we're going to discuss. It still doesn't come with all the benefits, but it is still pretty good, okay? And Sarawak is a welcoming place. It is full of really nice people. The food is incredible. The weather's good. If you like it hot and humid, it can be brutal if you don't like it, so I'm just going to make this disclaimer. The weather is not necessarily very comfortable, and there's not much variety at all. There's only 2 seasons, as there is throughout most of Southeast Asia, with very few exceptions far in between. Applicants must be 50 years or older. However, there is another option if you're, let's say, anywhere from 40 to 50 years and you want to purchase real estate worth at least 600,000 ringgit in Sarawak. Let's say you want to buy it in Kuching. That's where I used to live. Then you may also qualify. So even if you're younger, as long as you can purchase real estate, you may qualify. There's another option if you are younger. Let's say you are, in your 30s and you want to relocate to Sarawak, Malaysia. You can do that as long as you need long-term medical treatment in the country. I know a lot of people might think, well, if that's the case and you're that young, why not stay in your own country and get it done there? Well, some people might want to move. So the option is on the table. The Sarawak Malaysia My Second Home Pass is valid for 10 years. And if you want to qualify, under the regular circumstance, under the regular requirements, then you will need to prove an income of 10,000 ringgit if you're applying as a couple, or 7,000 ringgit if you're applying as a single individual. One thing to consider when applying for probably any visa is that the validity of the visa is actually tied to the expiration date of the passport. In some cases, let's say your passport is only valid for another 3 years and you're getting this visa which is for 10 years. Well, technically it's 10 years, but since your passport is only valid for another 3 years, then you'd be in a bit of a problem here. So whenever you apply, get a new passport. And if you're from a country that issues a passport that's valid for 10 years, then that's great. If not, you would have to change that later and you may have to reapply, so just consider that. So like I said, the income requirement is 10,000 ringgit per month for couples or 7,000 ringgit a month for single applicants. On top of that, you need to deposit at least 300,000 ringgit into a local bank account. That's if you're applying as a couple. If you're applying as a single individual, you need to deposit at least 150,000 ringgit into a local bank account. And you can't really touch that money until you withdraw your visa. Some of it you may be able to use for medical expenses, and there may be some other conditions under which the money can be used, but you have to keep a good chunk of that money in the bank account and make sure you consult with someone who is a specialist for the specific visa, because you may actually have to keep all your money in the bank account. You also need a letter of good conduct from your home country and a medical exam done in Malaysia. So these 2 things are always mandatory. Last but not least, we have Panama. And Panama is a very popular retirement spot for Americans and Canadians. And it's a country where it's the only country where you can get a real residency with a path to citizenship, where you can own 100% of a foreign company. So that's why a lot of Americans and Canadians are choosing Panama in recent years. Panama has a retirement program as well. If you have an income, it doesn't need to be a lot. It can actually be under $2,000. If you have an income, from like a pension, Social Security, if you have Social Security, you can qualify for residency in Panama. Panama's location is very strategic because of its proximity to America and Canada. So you're looking at anywhere from a couple hours to maybe 7 hours in the plane, depending on where you're located in America or Canada. So it does take some time to travel to Panama, but it's still more convenient than traveling to Southeast Asia. The Friendly Nations visa is very popular in Panama. If you're from a country that Panama has a treaty with, if your country is on the friendly nations visa list, then you may qualify for a special visa, such as incorporating a company and moving to Panama and starting a new life in Central America, which is very, very exciting. And the requirements for getting into Panama, they're actually much softer than the requirements for getting into, say, Malaysia or Thailand. And like I said, Panama offers a path to citizenship, but first and foremost, Panama offers residency. And if you want, you can become a citizen after having resided in the country for enough years. You can own land in most countries that we talked about. I mean, the Asian countries, Thailand, the Philippines, Malaysia. You can own land in Malaysia, but there are restrictions in place. There is a minimum purchase amount in place, and you need to get in on the special visa to get that. But again, it's restricted, right? It's not really open. And in the Philippines, a foreigner cannot own land. In Thailand, a foreigner cannot own land. So it's really only Malaysia where you can own land. And in Panama, you can own land, you can own companies, you can become a citizen, you can do whatever you want to do pretty much. And if you're interested in relocating to Panama or incorporating a company in Panama, working in Panama, then please feel free to contact us now. What are your thoughts on the Thai Privilege visa? Is it worth it? Is it overpriced? Are you getting good value for your money? What are your thoughts? As always, thank you so much for watching Nomad Elite, and we see you on the next video.